They kind of broke the code, let Brooks play in Rome, and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm I'm
I don't know.
I'm
It's
I'm
all
anxious. Keegan, obviously Keegan wasn't the first choice, I think, that everybody wanted.
I think you'll be great.
I think he's going to do really well, and I don't think he's going to get caught up in the buddy system that's happened in the past. I think he's going to pick guys that he wants to pick, and he's a gamer. He's a gamer, and the Ryder Cup at Bethpage is going to be insane.
Well, plus it's a big boy golf course.
Yeah,
So, the bombing factor, I would imagine they will cut down the rough quite a bit and let the Americans take advantage of their length because, I mean, some of the players that have played at that golf course were routinely hitting, hybrids and woods into par fours.
yeah,
And, a couple of the guys, Aberg and Rory, can bomb it, but for the most part, the Euros cannot.
right. Yeah, this isn't going to be a Brian Harmon Ryder Cup.
No, Brian will not be on the team.
That's another reason you look at Brooks.
Well, Kev,
Good
it's been
stuff.
a
Good
fantastic
preview.
year. I know you've got another tea time, so we'll let you go.
Actually, no, I have a flight to catch
Oh, okay.
heading home. So
Go
be
ahead.
up in your neck of the woods here for in a few days, playing in the Pepsi.
Yep. Well, hopefully we get together because it's been too long to see each other in person.
Yes, it
But,
is.
Zoom is the next best. No, it's not. It's okay, though.
Oh, we'll get together.
Yeah. That's going to do it for this season of Finding Fairways. So please follow our instructions. Find a fairway of your own, stick a peg in the ground, and pound it down the middle. We will see you next April here on Up North Sports Radio's Finding Fairways, brought to us by carlsgolfland.com.
It's time for the Northern Michigan High School Sports Scoreboard Show on Up North Sports Radio with your host, Rich Calkins.
All right, it is time for the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, brought to you by Sarah Ford in Kalkaska and Gaylord. Start your stress-free car shopping experience at Sarah Ford, Kalkaska, or sarahfordgaylord.com. Rich Calkins and Roadrunner manning the board here today, and starting right out of the gates is from the Traverse City Record Eagle, James Cook. And James, let me tell you, you were there at Thurlby Field last night and really had a lot of exciting action.
Was a really back and forth game. Kingsley, St. Francis took like the opening drive down and scored. Kingsley came back and they answered that, and then they kind of traded some down turnovers stuff for a little while. But St. Francis went into the halftime with only a 22-14 lead. Ended up winning that game 49-20.
Yeah, and you partially attribute that, to a late arriving St. Francis team. They came in and didn't get there towards the tail end of the Central game that took place first, and that was all by design by Coach Josh Sellers.
Yeah, I think they didn't want to have to kind of be at the mercy of the schedule of the first game, so they went to their practice field and did their normal pregame warm-ups and stretches and everything, and tried to time it as good as they could. They wanted to actually get there, he said, with 2 minutes to go, but they got there with a little under 7 to go. And because of that, they had to send one of their injured players to the field to do the coin toss, because by rule, each team had to have a representative at the coin toss.
Yeah, that's, again, just purely looking at from afar. I was down in Midland, calling the West Midland High game. And when I got home and I checked the final score of the Kingsley St. Francis game, and I was really shocked, to be honest with you. I really expected, and not to say it wasn't a hard-fought game, but I expected a much closer score.
Yeah, Kingsley had a couple of self-inflicted injuries there with a couple of fumbles. They had an interception, and then they had a fake punt in their own end of the field, out at about the 30-yard line or so that they went for, and Gavin Lewis actually had the seam and everything, and was jumping over one of his offensive linemen who was on the ground, and the offensive lineman didn't know he was there and stood up.
Oh, gee.
And kind of tripped his own running back, and he ended up not getting the first down. But it was a well-designed play, and they pretty much had it. It was just kind of a fluke that he didn't get it.
Right.
And that kind of was a big thing, because St. Francis ended up scoring on that and taking the lead, and that just kind of was a little bit of a momentum turn.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, James, were there any individual players that stood out to you?
Well, I mean, Gavin Lewis had a really good game for Kingsley. I think he ended up with 169 yards rushing, which is pretty good against the St. Francis team.
Yes.
Outside of that, Kingsley wasn't able to do a whole lot, although they did pass the ball a lot more than normal with the new junior quarterback that they have, who has a nice arm. So I think they may be doing that a bit more as the season goes on, and looking to throw the ball a little bit more, especially because the Wims brothers are both injured right now. Looks like one of them is out for the season. They may get the other one back towards the end of the season, and those are two of their real good speed guys on offense at running back, and they can flank them out even if they need to.
Oh, and that's that's really nice, to be able to have that dual threat type of action, because when you traditionally think of St. Francis, of course you think of a power running game, 3 yards and a cloud of rubber pellets and all of that now. But man, if you can open it up and then have that short passing game or intermediate passing game to really open things up, man, just the world is yours at that point.
Yeah, and on the St. Francis side, Cam Sellers did his normal thing. He had 10 carries for 214 yards. It helps when you have a 54 and an 80-yard touchdown run there, both in the second half for him. But and he had a 37-yard run in there too. But then they almost had two other runners get 100 yards, and Harrison Shepard and Evan Bellinger ended up with 96 and 98.
Wow. That all of a sudden, your yards per carry, when you have those big runs like that just, pushes it up that much more.
Yeah, for sure. And St. Francis was able to get those big plays. You think of St. Francis offense as where they just pound the ball between the tackles, and then
right,
and then they catch you doing something, and then they pop a big run off, and that's what they were doing. But it wasn't even where they were doing 5 or 6 runs right up the middle and then busted a run. It was 1 or 2, and then boom, the big run. They had a lot of short drives.
Huh. And then did you stick around then for the other game then too, the Central game, as they took on Midland Dow? Were you there for that?
Yeah, Traverse City Central looks pretty good in this game. They had some nice. Rutger Feeney scored the first 2 touchdowns. I think they took the ball the first 2 times they had it, took it right down the field and scored. And then before halftime, they got a great pick 6 from Riker Craig, who was playing with a club on his right arm, so he had to catch the ball with his left hand.
Wow.
And that was at least about a 45 or 55-yard return, and he had to break a couple of tackles inside the 10 to get into the end zone. So a very, very impressive run by him.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, the first name you mentioned, Rutger Feeney. What a cool name, That just seems like a true football name, Rutger Feeney. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, Rutger Feeney and then Riker Craig.
Right.
It seems like a pretty good duo.
Yeah, for sure. And, again, looking at some of the scores around the North, it was like scoring was at a premium. I mean, I'm looking at some of those 8-player scores across the North. 76 points by Augrey Sims, Brimley 80, Gaylord St. Mary's 64, Hillman put up 56, Pickford 43. I mean, it just was unbelievable the amount of scoring that took place last night across northern Michigan.
Yeah, everywhere except in one of the other kind of highlight games in the area, which was Glen Lake against East Jordan. That game ended up being 7-6.
Exactly. The complete opposite of what everything else that took place throughout the North. And you called it. You said that was going to be a really close, hard-fought ball game yesterday, and you were absolutely right.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be that close. I didn't think it would be just 1 point. But I thought East Jordan would definitely hang with them. But that turned out to be actually the closest game, because you can't get any closer than 1 point.
Right. Yeah, now other Big North action, again, that Cadillac-Gaylord game looked, pretty close as well. As Gaylord, they were able to get some points on the board by scoring 14, I believe, by far. That was their highest scoring output, and but Cadillac still won it, 22-14.
Yeah, that's their first points of the season.
I know, isn't
yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Their offense had really struggled through the first 4 games, but they got some points against them on the board against a decent Cadillac team. Cadillac is the win there, but it's good for Gaylord to make that progress. And then in the Big North Conference, you had Petoskey really running it up on Alpena.
71. 71-6.
Yeah, and I think it was running clock to start the third quarter.
Yeah. That's hard to do. As you know, James, with those running clocks in the second half, it's really hard to put 71 on the board.
Yeah, it is. Especially I think they were in the upper 40s, I think, at halftime.
Okay.
Or something like that. I think it was like 48 maybe that they had at halftime. They put a decent amount of more touchdowns on the board. And some of that was with not even their starters in the fourth quarter. I think they scored with a backup quarterback playing the fourth quarter.
Wow, no, that's highly impressive for sure. Well, James, I know you've got to get ready to head. Were you heading to a cross country meet now?
Yeah, I'm at the cross country. I'm sitting in the parking lot at Grand Traverse Academy right now.
Okay.
And they have a cross country meet that they do where they've got like a mud pit that the kids have to run through.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Dressed up in costumes and everything, so it's a pretty fun event.
Oh, very cool. Well, I know you had a long night last night, and appreciate you joining us early this morning on the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show. So good luck with the coverage there, and we'll talk again next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. James Cook of the Traverse City Record Eagle. And again, manning the board this morning with us is Roadrunner. Roadrunner, of course, usually hearing him over on Q100.
Hey, we're all set for some, rock and roll.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So also you going to be manning the board during the Grayling Vikings game today?
They're headed to Escanaba this afternoon.
Yes.
Well, they're headed there this afternoon. 4 o'clock is kickoff, and pregame with my and your buddies right there. Chad and Scotty will be bringing you all the play-by-play action.
Excellent. Yeah, no doubt about it. So that's going to be exciting here. And later today on 101.1, more Tiger action.
Yeah, go Tigers,
Go
man.
Tigers. How about, I had to wear my Tiger shirt in today as they clinched, of course, a playoff spot last night. So,
yeah.
And it's always best when there were no expectations whatsoever for this Tiger team to get in there and make the playoffs this year. And the run that they've been on in this after the trade deadline is just one of the true remarkable seasons to close it out.
Been a fabulous 2 weeks, hasn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable. We needed help. We needed a team to fall, and the Minnesota Twins has fallen, and the Tigers have just taken charge. And so, no, it's awesome for sure.
Yep.
Well,
definitely. Hey, and not to budge the Tigers,
No,
but go Lions on Monday now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
Monday night game.
Speaking of Monday night TV, and there you go with the Lions and the Tigers this weekend. What a sports combo. huh?
I know, and all those coverages are either here at 101.1 or Q100. So,
Right.
yeah, absolutely great sports action across the board.
Got you covered, man.
That's
So,
right. All right, we're going to go to a commercial break here now, but when we come back, we're going to get a hold of James Wagner, head coach at Traverse City West. Well, he was not able to join us postgame last night, but he's going to talk about that incredibly close 14-13 game last night. Unfortunately, West comes up just a little bit short. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford in Kalkaska and Gaylord.
In search of a new or pre-owned vehicle or need service on your existing vehicle? At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, you'll find the best selection of brand new Fords, certified vehicles, and a wide array of makes and models in every price range. And exceptional service by master certified technicians. At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, knowledgeable employees are local and eager to help their neighbors. You'll experience welcoming smiles, negotiation-free prices, and outstanding service. At Sarah Gaylord and Kalkaska, they guarantee it.
The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
It's Yacht Round to float your boat. Saturday, October 5th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, the Little River Band. Special guest, the Atlanta Rhythm Section. Tickets as low as $35 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office and etix.com. Smooth sailing, October 5th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, the Little River Band and Atlanta Rhythm Section, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
September is Big Brothers Big Sisters Month across the country. Let's shine a light on the incredible impact mentorship has on the lives of children and families right here in our community. For many children, their big is more than just a friend. They're a constant source of support, guidance, and most of the time, a lot of fun. Imagine the joy of sharing an ice cream cone, the comfort of a listening ear, and the inspiration that comes from a caring role model. For 54 years, Biggs has been helping children discover their potential and reach for their dreams. You can be part of a child's successful journey. Whether you want to become a mentor, advocate for our mission, or support this important cause, your involvement will make a world of difference. Join our village and help foster these essential connections that last a lifetime. Visit bigsupnorth.org to learn more about how you can get involved. Together, we can empower our youth to build brighter futures.
Tune in to Finding Fairways live on 101.1 WGRY every Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 10. Sponsored in part by carlsgolfland.com, home of golf plenty. Right here on Up North Sports Radio Y101.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford in Kalkaska and Gaylord. Rich Calkins and the Roadrunner manning the board here today. So joining us now, head coach of Traverse City West, James Wagner. And Coach, incredibly close 14-13 game last night. West scores late with 20 seconds to go. We go for two, come up a yard short, but incredible effort by the team last night. All right, we're going to be getting a hold of. We had James Wagner there on hold initially. We're going to get a hold of him here once again, get things rocking and rolling. But I'm going to give you just a general synopsis of what took place last night, as we contact James Wagner here. So, but no scoring in the first half of this ball game whatsoever. 0-0 at the end of half. And opening kick, West had won the coin toss to start the game. They deferred to the second half, and that paid dividends as a 95-yard kick return opened up the scoring here. So, okay, here we go. We got James Wagner here now joining us, head coach of Traverse City West. And Coach, wow, what a ball game last night. 14-13, come up a point short. And just can't get the 2-point conversion in as we went for the win.
It was a heartbreaker. It was one that I really felt that we could have walked off the field with the win there, and just fell up a yard short. And that's what's tough about this game sometimes. I mean, sometimes you just are you come up a yard short, and I've seen it plenty of times. I've had it happen once or twice before in my career as well, and it never feels good. But really proud of just the fight and my kids, and there's a lot of things that we did right, and there's a lot of things that throughout the game we did wrong, and we're going to simply do what we do and get back to work and get ready for Dow next week, because we got to go back to the same place. So trying to erase that memory there and leave that field next week with a win.
Yeah, and Coach, I love the decision to go for the win. I mean, all the momentum was going our way for everybody that obviously that wasn't there or didn't listen in. Coach, I mean, we have a 26-yard touchdown pass over the middle from Owen Hendricks to Colton Core, and all of a sudden, with 20 seconds to go, that's our first offensive touchdown all night long. Our other one was a 95-yard kick return by Drew Esper to open up the second half. So, and Coach, all the momentum's going our way, and that's traditional strategy. You're on the road, getting ready almost to go into overtime. Do you kick it to try to tie it, or do you go for the 2-point for the win? I love the decision to go for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm in that same situation again, I'm doing it.
Right.
I think it's just you put the ball in your players' hands and you let them go and try and make a play, and and again, and give credit to them, they were able to execute what they were wanting to, and we just fell 1 yard short. But it's like you have so many different things that you can think about in terms of the coulda, woulda, shouldas, or should have done this or should have done that. But at the end of the day, it's like you have no idea if those things are going to work out or not. And it's just how the game goes sometimes, and you just it hurts. You gotta lick your wounds, and you gotta continue to show back up. And Owen, I know he was feeling it a little bit last night, but I trust the kid. I love the kid. He's a heck of a player, and again, same situation. I'm going to put the ball in my players' hands and let them try and make plays. So didn't happen for us last night, and it's unfortunate, but we'll get back at it here this week.
Right. Yeah, and Coach, high school extra points are not a given. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, when there's a lot that needs to go right when you kick an extra point in high school, the snap, the hold, everything about it is, it's a 50-50 proposition. So, again, I love the decision for going for 2.
Yeah, and we've had, we've been a little bit inconsistent this year with that. And so I felt like it was the best thing for us to try. It's homecoming for them. We're on the road. Up to that last drive in the game, we hadn't done much offensively, and so you're 3 yards away, and we wanted to try and sneak out of there with a win, and we just again fell up short, and how she goes.
Yeah, Coach. Again, I was talking a little bit, letting our listeners know about no score in the first half. All the defenses are playing great, 0-0 at halftime. And then we had won the toss. We defer until the second half. Opening kickoff of the second half, our big playmaker, Drew Esper, returns it almost 95 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, he's special. I mean, he just is. And that's the type of stuff that he can do on any given play when he has the ball in his hands. And I looked at him at halftime and I said, hey, man, you might need to just make a play on special teams and go out there and win this for us. And, sure enough, next play he goes out and takes it 95 yards. So he's just fun to watch, and he's a kid that is just super special and a big talent. And but he works so hard. He puts in all the little work behind the scenes that when nobody's watching, he's doing the things that he needs to do in order to be successful. And it just goes to show that his preparation and the things that he does off the field, that's what makes him so great. And he earns and deserves everything that comes his way. He is just an outstanding young man that is a playmaker, and he's just fun to watch. It's super special to coach him, and to have players like that, it's really, really fun. So.
Yeah, and Coach, offense struggled most of the night to get anything going, but when they needed it most, you were able to, again, get that 26-yard touchdown pass from Owen Hendricks to Colton Core. And to throw that, again, those DBs for Midland were aggressive all night long. They were absolutely jumping every single route.
Yeah, they did a good job. Those DBs were, they're playing some types of, 4 high looks, and, they're playing us deep and then jumping stuff short. And, they did a good job. And once we started to, I said we're going to go up tempo here and had to. And, once we started doing that, we were able to move the ball a little bit. And, kids make plays in those situations. And, my kids are gritty. When their back's against the wall, I just think that they're going to respond and be able to rise to the challenge. And they did on that drive. And we just weren't able to cap it off with the 2-point conversion. Earlier in the game when they went up 14-7, I just kind of looked them in the eye and I said, hey, we're going to go down and score. We're going to go for 2. We're going to win this game. And, everything happened except for that last yard that we needed. And, it's a heartbreaker. It's a heartbreaker because it felt like we were right there to win it, and we just didn't execute when we needed to. And, it's a hard thing for coaches to swallow. It's a hard thing for these young men to swallow. But, again, I had the most faith in these kids and just who they are as people and how they're going to respond going into next week. So, we'll lick our wounds, and once Monday comes, we're going to be able to get back at it after it. And I know these kids are hungry for more. So.
Yeah, Coach, you got to be really happy with the defense, giving up just a little over 150 yards of total offense to Midland.
Yeah, I think, they continue to play well. We are very stout on defense. Right now we need to be able to play well in all phases of the game to complement one another. And, that's what we need to work on this week. But, they played stout, and they have a swagger about themselves and a mentality about themselves, and they continue to play very, very well and at a high level. And we're going to need that down the stretch. And, in this conference, our conference is a conference that anyone can win on any given night. And it just is the margin of error is super small. And, we got to continue to have stout defensive play as we move forward in this conference. And, I think if Midland and West play each other 10 times, it could go 5 wins and 5 losses. It's just that close of a conference, and so that makes it fun and good football to watch. So,
Yeah, it is, Coach. And looking forward to, like you said, traveling right back to Midland and taking on the Dow Chargers. So, best of luck this week with a good week of practice, and looking forward to calling the game next Friday.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you guys.
All right, appreciate it. Head coach James Wagner, TC West. And that was an incredible game last night. And we have a special guest joining us now as we got Chad Patterson jumping in here briefly to talk, just getting him and Scotty Nicholas getting ready to head up to Escanaba.
Yeah, we're in the Feeney Ford Express. We are headed up the 3-hour and 49-minute trip. Scott says 4 because he's stopping to get something to eat.
Oh, is it either Clyde's or Lato's pasties? One of those two got to be on the menu.
Have you met Scott Nicholas? We're probably stopping at both places.
We are kindred spirits.
That's where we're going.
I like to eat like Scotty does, man.
We don't have an extra mic for him to defend himself here.
Right, but Clyde's is a great driving right outside of St. Ignace, and Lato's a couple more miles out on US 2 on the left-hand side.
I know. You don't have to tell me.
Guys, I can tell you they're both open. Just passed them yesterday.
Yeah,
had a pasty at
the
pasty place.
Reports,
yeah,
very cool. I make fun of Scott. I'm probably the one that's going to be stopping because I'm driving on the way up. So, we're looking forward to a great afternoon, looking at the colors, a beautiful day of driving, and hopefully the first Grayling Viking victory. We would love to see it. They're playing the 2-2 Escanaba Eskimos. And, the Eskimos have looked really, really solid in some games. And, of course, they got, last week for a 45-zip over Sault Ste. Marie, which was a surprising
a shocker,
eyebrow-raising win right there. And, of course, Petoskey took care of them earlier in the season, 44-19. But Petoskey's got
they
good
got it
program.
going, man. They put up 71 against Alpena last night,
and they beat Cadillac. I mean, so they've been kind of all over the place. 2-2 is, but they very easily could have could be 3-1 right now. So. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think Grayling, of course, has been, having a struggle of a season, but
I would put their schedule up against anybody's in the
exactly.
state comparatively. As far as that is as tough as it gets with the opening schedule.
And that is where I was going to go right there. I just looked at the St. Francis Kingsley score. And
I know, dude.
And that's two of the teams right there that Grayling has played this season. The state champs, and of course the state semifinalists from the year before. Really, really good teams, and Unity Christian.
Yeah.
I mean, started our season with Claire. Claire beat the Flying G's for crying out loud. So, we have played just a gauntlet of good teams, and we're playing a Saturday game. Should be fun, and going into homecoming week. Next week against Boyne City. So those 6 games, but I mean Boyne City too, Escanaba.
Another tough one.
It doesn't get easier, and not making excuses for these guys, not making excuses for the coaching staff. They are all putting in the work and doing the things that they need to do to prepare their boys for a battle every Saturday, every Friday night. So tune in to Q100 FM, and we will be there at 3:30 for the Johnson Propane pregame show, and 4 o'clock for the kickoff. The JV team plays right before that at 1 o'clock, so we'll give you the updates on that, and of course we will be talking about that Grayling Viking soccer team. Throughout our broadcast too, we
opened the show last week with Andy Moore because of how good they're doing. Yeah,
having a ranked team and having somebody that's having a team that is so good and has a chance to do something special this season.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's really special. Yeah, the community needs to back this team because, again, like you said, Chad, they are something special.
And they are a team.
Yes.
They're getting contributions from all over the field, and from freshmen all the way up to seniors. And being a soccer dad myself, just seeing them beat Elk Rapids was.
That's when they caught my attention, man. That's the great measuring stick. If you beat Elk, all of a sudden you've got my attention.
My 25-year-old son, who's in Indiana right now, and then my foreign exchange student son, who is in Italy, were both I think tears came to their eyes.
Super cool.
They went through the battles, and they know. So. So we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good drive up there, and, be listening for some Viking football at 4 o'clock. And I would be remiss if I didn't say I believe that the Snowbirds 64 points.
They did. We're gonna talk to Kevin O'Connell in just a moment.
And that's always a good interview.
Oh, it is. Yeah, Kevin's the best. Absolutely the best.
Kevin is the best. Yeah, and he keeps his language clean. It's awesome.
Yeah. You're getting to see him a little bit now, here and there. I'm sure.
Yeah. He was a big part of our pep rally yesterday. I work up there now, and the pep rally at St. Mary's is unmatched. It is.
Love it. I love that they still have pep rallies, man. That's so cool.
And it's K through 12, so the little kids get involved too, and it's awesome. In fact, they had little girls all lined up putting makeup on the football players.
Oh, is that right?
They have like a minute and a half to make up the football players as just as beautiful as they can, and it was great seeing these big fellas, and that's great. That's the older kids really are really good with the younger kids. All right, we're out. We got to go.
All right.
We got a heart out.
All right.
Go Tigers.
That's right. Go Tigers. Go Vikes. Have a safe trip, guys.
Yeah, that's definitely. We'll catch up with you, Roadrunner, at 3:30. Hey,
I'm gonna be tuning in, guys. All right. Looking forward. See you, buddy. Good luck,
and
man.
Go
Scotty,
Vikings.
That's
yes.
right. Chad Patterson, Scotty Nicholas, getting in the Feeney Ford Express there, heading up to Escanaba in the moonlight for sure. So as they take on the Eskimos. All right, we're gonna be heading to break. We'll be getting a hold of Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Gaylord St. Mary's Snowbirds. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford in Kalkaska and Gaylord.
Michigan Trailers near Chum's Corners is having an end of the summer sell down right now. Over $5,000 off of the tremendous selection of trailers in stock and ready to roll. All prices are clearly marked on over 150 units. The best selection of utility trailers plus the best service, parts, and accessories, all at Michigan Trailers on US 31 South across from Menards in Traverse City. Visit in person or online 24/7 at michigantrailers.com. Let's go Titans!
In search of a new or pre-owned vehicle or need service on your existing vehicle? At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, you'll find the best selection of brand new Fords, certified vehicles, and a wide array of makes and models in every price range. And exceptional service by master certified technicians. At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, knowledgeable employees are local and eager to help their neighbors. You'll experience welcoming smiles, negotiation-free prices, and outstanding service. At Sarah Gaylord and Kalkaska, they guarantee it.
Swipe, win, and go bonkers for the Cash Craze Extravaganza at Saguenay Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel. Every Saturday in September, earn 1,000 points and swipe at a kiosk for the chance to score premium play or bonus entries into that night's cash drawings. From 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., winners will be drawn every hour to win a share of $60,000 cash. Get in on the Cash Craze, only at Saguenay Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel. Real fun, real friendly. Visit Saguenay-EaglesLanding.com for complete rules and details.
Just like your jewelry, after so many years, it's time to repair, remake, or redesign. And that's exactly what we're doing at Hogan's Jewelers. I'm Erin Martins. And boy, are we remodeling. We're still on target for a mid to late fall completion. It's noisy sometimes, dusty quite a bit, and there are times when it feels like we're working in a phone booth. Depending upon the day, the available workspace we have gets smaller, then bigger, and on it goes. We're toughing through the shrinking workspace, but the funny thing is that while our space is shrinking due to the remodeling, we are open and we have new jewelry arriving pretty much daily. Our custom work and repairs, business as usual. Keeping up with it all is definitely a challenge, but it's taking shape behind the temporary wall, and we are ecstatic for you to see the new layout. It may not seem like it, but our front door is open, and we will remain open through our remodel. Just come in as our remodel sale is still going on, and you never know what's being marked down until you see it for yourself. When this is all said and done, we'll be better able to help you love the ones you love on Main Street, M32 in downtown Gaylord at Hogan's Jewelers.
Tune into Up North Sports Radio for U of M football.
Brought to you in part by Northern Mechanical in Grayling, your dependable Bryant dealer. Everything you need at northernmechanical.com. Bryant, whatever it takes.
WGRY, Up North Sports Radio.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford in Kalkaska and Gaylord. Rich Calkins and the Roadrunner with you here this morning. And joining us now is head coach of the Gaylord St. Mary's Snowbirds, Kevin O'Connell. Kevin had a great game last night as St. Mary's is coming off a big 64-14 win over Ronaway.
I appreciate that, Rich. We had a great crowd. And I thought we played a relatively clean game, to be honest with you. We had an outstanding week of preparation. We had to get back to basics and get physical and really spend a lot of time on our individual technique and really weren't concerned about scheme. So it was a good homecoming victory over Onaway, and we will take it, and we're going to move on.
Yep. Of course, I don't know if you were listening in, but Chad Patterson stepped in briefly there. He was talking about the big pep rally that took place, and I love that you guys still have pep rallies and everything, Kevin, just to get the whole school involved. That's awesome.
I can't tell you how refreshing it is to have cheerleaders back with pom-poms and the school song and a pep rally, and it was K through 12, and everybody's jumping up and down and dancing and yelling and screaming. If there was a greater example of school pride on display, it was that. It was awesome, and it spilled over to the parade, to the game, tailgating. We had an outstanding crowd. So, I can tell you this is a pretty special place, but until you walk through the doors and come to a game, I don't think it's hard to appreciate things like that. But it was
was pretty awesome experience yesterday.
Yeah, because it was commonplace back 40, 45 years ago when I was in school, Kevin. I mean, it happened for all the big games, and then a lot of schools have gone away from that because you talk to some kids now, they're like, what's a pep rally? What's that? They have no idea. And so now for you guys to carry on that tradition, I absolutely love it.
It is pretty special, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. It's infectious. I mean, we have a small school, which is kind of odd. You're like, oh yeah, pep rally. 60 kids are going to be there. No, the whole school is there, and we don't have a big school, but it was fun. The games, everything about yesterday was special.
Yeah.
The crowd coming back, players coming back. Dads in their old jerseys. It was like seriously like being in the 80s again and 90s,
right?
Where it was fun.
Yeah, and that's what and that infectious excitement there. It's starting those young kids out from kindergarten, first, second grade, third graders. Then they want to later on play football or play a sport or do something good for the school because again they remember these times, these pep rallies, and that all they remember is, man, that was a lot of fun. That was really cool.
You remember the good old days, Rich, where, the old saying, tradition never dies?
Right.
It was awesome. So we made a point of, usually we stay out and do all our warm-ups and do kickoffs. So I wanted to make a point of going back to our locker room and being able to come out about 2 minutes before so they could actually walk through a crowd. And we walked through kids playing football in the aisleway as we're going out. The left and center field was full of kids, boys and girls throwing the football around. It was just an amazing experience. It was fun to watch these little knee-high little kids running around,
right,
emulating. We walked through, and they're all high-fiving our kids as we walked to the field. It was special, Rich. It really was.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin, I can remember before. I mean, we didn't have youth football when I was growing up, but we had punt, pass, and kick, and I'd get that every year. And then when at the Grayling games, behind the end zones, we would play football on those Friday nights when the big guys were playing. We were playing in the opposite end zones there, trying, running around tackling everyone, and just we loved it,
Yeah. The most important game was not the one on the field; it was
right.
in the parking lot or left field, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I'd go home all muddy and dirty and stuff, like I'd been playing all night long, and I was just wasn't getting any recognition for it. But hey, it's a blast there, Kevin. But now, Kevin? It's been a couple of weeks since we've talked to you. How you guys doing health wise, and who's really taking a leadership role for you?
Health-wise is okay. We're okay. I mean, by week 5, the body takes its toll and the little things here and there. But by and large, we're good. We're maintaining weight room 3 to 4 days a week, depending upon whether we're Saturdays. Our practices are physical, but we like to get them in out, in 2 hours cap, and try to be efficient. As far as I would say, Hogan McKinley. Okay. Now he's a senior, but by all counts, he's a junior by age and playing experience. And he's playing quarterback. But the beauty of that is he's a National Honor Society kid. He's a 4-point student. And he's really embraced our offense. Quite honestly, Rich, a week ago, he called 85% of our offense from the line of scrimmage.
Wow. That's impressive.
When you turn the keys of the car over to a kid like that, and he's not a big kid. He's not eye candy when he comes off the bus, but he's gritty. He's tough. I mean, he's got a scar in his forearm from his elbow to his wrist from surgery when he broke his arm last year. He's just a tough kid.
Right.
So, when you got kids like that, and we got we're nice up front, nice mix of experience and youth. And the other senior, I think, that is really stepping up in a leadership role, in a playing role, is DJ Daniel Jacobson. I think his best game of the year was against Ishpeming, which was a real physical game. He had 17 carries. He plays the game. He's a throwback. You would love him. He's
right.
a throwback. Never leaves the field. So he runs the ball hard, plays great defense, and he really does an outstanding job on the field for us in all aspects, the physical and the intangibles.
Oh, that's great, Kevin. I'm sure you're a fan of football all across the great north here, Kevin, and also those scoring was at a premium last night in a lot of these 8-man games. I mean, Brimley putting up 80, Augury Sims 76, you guys 64, Bel Air 64. I mean, in 11-man, Petoskey putting up 71. I mean, just crazy scores.
It is a lot of crazy scores. I would say a lot of that has to do with it, and just stepping back in the 8-man world, you don't see that when you have the top 8 going against the top 8.
Exactly.
When I say you're not going to see a 76-45 game against Crystal Falls, Forest Park, and Powers North Central. You're not going to, you saw Sacred Heart and Maurice. You saw Sacred Heart and Portland St. Pat's. And, there were 28-24 games. There is, unfortunately, there's the 8 top 10, what I would call the elites: Portland St. Pat's, Sacred Heart, Maurice, Powers North Central, Crystal Falls, Forest Park. And then, unfortunately, everybody else chasing those elites. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know, you want to play Division I and try to be Belleville?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
There is a drop off, and that's the reason I think you see the incredible disparity in the scores.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no doubt about it, Kevin. Well, Kev, always enjoy talking to you. We have one more coach. We need to talk to Mark Jarsfer from Gladwin. They got a big win last night against Standy Sterling. But,
that is a huge win.
Yeah, that is. And they've had, similar to like what Grayling's schedule has been, the Gladwin in their schedule with the Ogama Heights and the Clares and people like that. They've had a rough schedule as well. So Coach Mark Jarsfer.
Frankenmuth coming up week 9,
yes,
too.
Exactly.
So what I love about him, he doesn't shy away from playing the tough boys.
No.
I give him all the credit in the world.
That's right. No, that's, kind of, a page out of the old Kevin O'Connell book there, for sure.
I don't know about that, but hey, Rich, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I love you, and I wish you the best.
All right, thanks, Kevin. And hey, you're doing a great job with the Minnesota Vikings as well, Kevin, by the way. I mean, how you're doing both, it's incredible, but you're awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how I do both.
So, all right, Kevin O'Connell of Gaylord St. Mary's Snowbirds, one of the best, and best of luck next week, Kev.
Awesome. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you, bud. Yeah, Kevin, just a great guy. Got to know him. He was the defensive coordinator at Grayling for years and got to know him then. And just a real special guy. Great person to lead that Snowbird program.
Yeah, got a great personality, too.
Oh, yeah, he sure does. He's got it all. Absolutely.
Made for the sports.
He is. Oh, man. He's awesome. So, like I told Kevin, we're going to be talking to Mark Jarsfer of the Gladwin Flying G's here coming up. You're listening to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford in Kalkaska and Gaylord.
The Traverse City Record Eagle supports WCMU Public Radio in Traverse City with Total Access Record Eagle subscriptions. Total Access means home delivery of the printed paper, plus on-demand access to local and breaking news and other community publications online or on the app. Find out more at record-eagle.com/subscriptions or call 231-946-2187. That's 231-946-2187. The Traverse City Record Eagle proudly serves 13 counties in northwestern Lower Michigan.
There are so many wonderful things about fall in northern Michigan. Football, autumn colors, and the return of the fall favorites at Benetham's, like chicken morel pasta, veal tosca, and Salzburg schnitzel. Everything on the Benetham's menu is made with the freshest ingredients, and the daily appetizer and dinner specials are always delightful, especially paired with a great wine. Visit Benethams.com and make your reservation. Benetham's, for the true love of food.
In search of a new or pre-owned vehicle or need service on your existing vehicle? At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, you'll find the best selection of brand new Fords, certified vehicles, and a wide array of makes and models in every price range. And exceptional service by master certified technicians. At Sarah Gaylord and Sarah Kalkaska, knowledgeable employees are local and eager to help their neighbors. You'll experience welcoming smiles, negotiation-free prices, and outstanding service. At Sarah Gaylord and Kalkaska, they guarantee it.
Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from Spin on Sports, Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 right here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY. Whether it's Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Michigan State, the Big Ten, the Mid-American Conference, all the headlines, all the stories, and always Michigan teams first. It's all right here on Spin on Sports, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard locally on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY.
Welcome back to the Northern Michigan Scoreboard Show, presented by Sarah Ford in Kalkaska and Gaylord. Rich Calkins and the Roadrunner in studio with you this morning. And joining us now is head coach of the Gladwin Flying G's, Mark Jarsfer. And Mark, you got to be incredibly happy coming off a huge 33-20 win against Standy Sterling last night.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a great team. You know, with had some momentum going with that 3-1 record, with their only loss being to undefeated Ithaca. You know, undefeated in our league, and we were coming off 2 straight, so it was a much needed win.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Mark. What are some of the details of the game? Who was it that stepped up for you to get that win?
Yeah, so they came out and they scored first, and so you know then it was kind of like, oh boy, here we go, right? Like we lost two straight and thought we had a good plan and stuff coming into it, but really, you know, then it was just kind of Trace Corlew that took over, and our quarterback Colt Vinegar. You know, they were playing a lot of man coverage, and it's really hard to play Trace Corlew, and man, he's arguably one of the best players that I've ever coached as far as skilled position goes. Incredible speed and shifting and great feet and route running ability. And so, you know, we were able to hit him quite a few times through the air. I want to say he had, you know, over 100 yards receiving and a couple touchdowns doing that. And so obviously, you know, quarterback has to maneuver the pocket and do things to get it there. And then, of course, we were able to run the ball for a couple 100 yards as well. And so, you know, a total team effort, and including, you know, defense and special teams. It wasn't always pretty, you know, like obviously when you give up 20-some points and, you know, they outscore you in the second half, it's not exactly the way you want to see it go, but that's kind of what you expect when you're going against a high-quality opponent like Standish.
Right, and Coach, you've been mentioning that name, that Corlew name, for the last 3 years. So obviously he was on your state championship team, and again, so he's been with you since his sophomore year.
Yeah, he's actually been up since he was a freshman.
Wow.
And so a 4-year varsity player. And, you know, he's just a tremendous athlete. He, I think it's some crazy stat in youth that he averaged like 5 touchdowns a game throughout all of youth, which is pretty incredible, you know, because then he gets up and he scores 0 touchdowns as a freshman. He scored a pretty big kick return touchdown in the semifinal game as a sophomore against Grand Rapids Catholic Central.
Right.
That really gave us a lot of momentum there. And then, you know, other than that, his sophomore year, he had 5 yards of offense. And so, you know, his production from junior high, you know, was something that he had to sacrifice for just the better of the team. And we had, you know, a lot of really obviously talented athletes on that state championship roster.
Yes.
And so, you know, he just kind of fell into place and did what was asked of him. And then, you know, the last 2 years, it's really been his time to shine. So it's kind of a cool story to see that payoff of, you know, sacrifice and buying your time and waiting, even though you're capable, and then really getting to see the benefits of that now.
Yeah, and especially, Coach, when you're a younger and really talented kid, it's really hard sometimes to convince them that, look, they need to maybe take a more supportive role right now, but their time will come. And I tell you, and especially with young kids nowadays, it's hard for them to accept. So you have a special kid there that's able to do that.
Yeah, certainly, you know, and when he gets the payoff of a ring and big trophies and stuff like that, I think it made it a little easier for him to accept. But had that not been the case, you know, it might have been harder.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, the dividends are paying off there for sure. Now, Coach, I mean, again, we've talked about it quite a bit each week, the gauntlet that you guys have been through, you know, with the Ogama Heights and the Clares, and, you know, again, both one-score games and one-score losses there. But, again, teams that you may see at the end in playoffs. But also, coming up next week, you got a 1-4 Shepherd team. They won their first game of the season. They've lost their last 4. What are you expecting from them as you guys are back home again?
Yeah, it's going to be our homecoming, and so it'll be a great night, and a nice environment. And we had talked, for all week, with our kids that we felt, going forward now we were going to have a little bit of an opportunity to get on a streak, and have an opportunity to really play well, against teams that I frankly think we should be favored against. And so, but even when you're favored on paper or whatever, you still have to show up and perform. And so, we felt that had to start last night, and obviously we were able to take care of business and make that happen. But now our guys just have to understand that just because you may be favored doesn't mean you don't have to prepare anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Still got to put the work in and make sure that you're doing everything that it takes to be successful, because at the end of the day, these other teams still want to win, and they're trying, their best to do that. And so if you show up unprepared or just thinking that you can go through the motions, and you allow these teams to hang around in a game and gather some confidence, confidence can be a scary thing. When teams start believing they can win, and that energy kind of builds on itself and snowballs, you can end up in a dogfight in a hurry with somebody that, shouldn't be in a dogfight with. And so that's kind of going to be our message is that it's us versus us, and we're focusing on ourselves and just trying to improve every week so that we can, put together a little streak here before we round out our regular season and head into the playoffs.
Right, and Coach, you know as well as anybody when an opposing team is struggling and they're trying to get wins any way they can, nothing that would make their season better than to put a bullseye on the Gladwin Flying G's backs and get a big upset win.
Oh, absolutely. And when you've had the kind of success that we've had, I think that's exactly right. Teams use you as a measuring stick for their own program and to see where they're at. Because they know that, our guys are going to be well prepared and ready to go. And so, they want to see where they stack up and how close they are. And this year we've had 2 teams best us. And so, it shows that we're not invincible, right? And so,
right.
So that gives teams a glimmer of hope. And, I trust in our guys' preparation and ability to take care of business and do what they need to do to be successful this week.
Yeah, and Coach, not getting too far ahead, but in 3 weeks you have that Jack Pine Conference crossover game. Do you know who you're playing yet?
No, so that's pretty muddied up over there for sure on that side of the bracket. Obviously, Harrison Hornets are undefeated, so they're 5-0, so it likely won't be them. But then from there, you look, and I believe it's the Farwell Eagles that are at the bottom of that, so it probably won't be them. And so it kind of leaves, 3 or 4 other teams of like St. Louis, maybe a rematch with Beaverton, maybe Meridian, maybe Pinconning, and so that'll sort itself out here over the next couple weeks as it becomes more clear. I mean, we only got the 2 conference games left, and so may have a pretty good idea after next week, kind of just looking at the matchups on paper with 1 game to go and who we think's the favorites. Might have to call into Vegas and see what the odds are and start doing some homework on that. But no, that's a fun thing, though. I think it's just a non-pre-planned thing. It'd obviously be much cooler if we were in the driver's seat in the 1 seed. Looking to see if you're going to play for a conference title on the other side. But I still think it is cool that you don't exactly know and that it's based on standing.
Yeah, it is. I think it's really cool there to play some crossover games like that. And like you said, 3 weeks away, you still don't know who your opponent's going to be. So, but yet to be determined. But, hey, Mark Jarster, best of luck with the Gladwin Flying G's. You guys, obviously you've built a great program there, state championship just a few years ago. Best of luck next week at homecoming against Shepherd.
All right, guys, I appreciate it.
All right, Coach Mark Jarsper, once again, the Gladwin Flying G's Roadrunner there. He's done a phenomenal job.
Oh, yeah,
there.
sure.
When you win a state championship at Gladwin and stuff, and right. Coach doesn't have to buy breakfast the rest of his life now when he goes there in the morning.
There you go. Hey, Rich, it's been a gas with you here on the morning sports high school show. And hey, we'll talk one more minute about the Tigers because they are on today.
They are, yep.
110 right here on Up North Sports Radio, 101.1 FM. We've got you covered. Last game's tomorrow.
That's right.
3:10.
And that
right
crowd was huge. I saw it again.
Yes.
I was at Midland calling the game for West, but when I got back home, I looked at the highlights and the replay of the Tigers game. And obviously, there wasn't an open seat at
nowhere.
the stadium.
No.
Ever. My son-in-law was able to be there, so that was cool. He sent me a little video of it, and so that was awesome of the final out. And so it was really, really cool to see. And again, just such a welcome surprise.
And here we come, the playoffs.
That's right. So people that might be thinking that they're going to be tuning into the Michigan game pregame because that's a noon kickoff today. They will not be. The Tigers are superseding.
Tigers are the dominant right here at Up North Sports Radio. So you'll be hearing the game today at 1:10.
That's right.
And then Sunday at 3:10, and that's the end of the regular season. Here we come, playoffs.
That's right, playoffs.
Playoffs with the Tigers.
That's right. This is awesome. So, but hey, I want to thank you, Roadrunner, for filling in today, running the board.
Problem.
Did exceptional job there, buddy. So,
go Lions on Monday.
Lions on Monday
night.
TV. Yeah.
And go Vikings this afternoon
that's
on
right.
Q1 100. Yep, Chad and, of course, Scotty will be bringing the game. Pre-game's at 3:30 on the Q. Roadrunner will be there in just a few minutes.
That's right. And we'll be right back here next Saturday at 10 o'clock with some more sports scores and more coaches from around the North. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Countdown 2 on the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM. The sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today.
BetQL Network, Infinity Sports Network. Alex Gold, Grant Paulson. You can watch us on twitch.tv/BetQL. Alex did his hair today, so make sure you check that out. At
big
BetQL
day ahead,
app
you know?
on social media. Yeah, you got the big bachelor party lying ahead, so you got to be looking good.
That's right. Yeah, bachelor party here in town. It'll be a good time. Go out to a little college football, a brewery tour, some dinner, and then we'll just see what happens the rest of the night. Should be a good day, man.
We'll see what happens the rest of the night. Seems like code word for something, but that's for somebody else to guess.
You never know. We don't have any plans after dinner. It just kind of see how everybody's feeling.
Yeah, nobody ever has plans after dinner. That's the way that goes. All right, let's get to the Offensive Rookie of the Year award odds. And after his coming out party on Monday Night Football in Cincinnati, Jaden Daniels, the Heisman Trophy winner out of LSU here in Washington for the Commanders, is now a sizable favorite at plus 125. Malik Neighbors at plus 240 is second. Marvin Harrison Jr. is plus 450. Which is pretty funny because he's basically had one quarter of football where he's been productive. He had 130 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, week 2 against the Rams. Otherwise, all season, he's got 60 receiving yards, which is kind of wild when you think about it. Caleb Williams is 7-1. He's been very bad. That offense has been terrible. Brock Bowers has been productive. Bud is now hurt. He's 20-1. And then Bo Nix, 20-1. Xavier Worthy, 25-1. Bowers, I believe, is expected to go into the weekend. So with that all having been said, I guess we can start right at the top with Daniels and Neighbors. This reminds me a little bit of last year. Malik Neighbors is on pace for 148 catches. The record's 149. He's on pace for 1,460 yards. Only 20 receivers have ever done that before. but we had a 105 catch, 1,500-yard receiver last year, which even despite the pace Neighbors is on, I would say, would be a really good finish to his season. And in that season, the guy that did that, Puka Nacua, didn't win the Rookie of the Year award because C.J. Stroud was a super impressive rookie quarterback for a division championship winning team. Now, Stroud only had 23 touchdowns. Stroud barely had 4,000 passing yards. By the standards of, quarterback play, essentially, pretty reasonable, but, okay quarterback numbers, whereas the Puka Nacua wide receiver numbers were amazing. That's next level, and he still didn't win the award. So for that reason, I think it's hard for Neighbors to overcome Daniels, assuming either A, Daniels is spectacular, or B, Washington is good. But how does the Commanders' team result factor into that? Because I think part of why Stroud overtook Nacua last year, Alex, is that the Texans won the division.
I think that was part of it, no doubt, other than just the quarterback angle anyway, right? Just the advantage, if you will, that quarterbacks get in most of these award markets. The other thing, too, think about preseason. I mean, Jaden Daniels was, 6-1. Caleb Williams was a heavy favorite. We talked about, hey, value, should this have been a narrower gap? And obviously, hindsight being 2020, it definitely should have been much closer preseason than where it is right now. Jaden Daniels had a primetime stage. He delivered. That's the biggest thing that you can do to help your campaign is have a moment like he had on Monday. And then what happens is the next week you can fall right back, though, if you don't deliver again. So I'm really curious to see what he does against the Cardinals. He didn't have to be that sensational necessarily, but can he show it again? And then at that point, he's just that dude, right? And that means he's going to do that all year, in my opinion. So this is a big, reinforcement game, right? Solidify himself type of game coming up this weekend. And if he does that, you might have him down to even money by the end of this weekend. I mean, that's where I could see this going. I 100% with you with where Caleb Williams is at. But hear me out for a second. I didn't like the OC hire. I didn't think they should have retained their coaching staff. That's my biggest issue I have with Caleb Williams. But I don't think for a guy that was a significant favorite 3 weeks ago, that I still think is immensely talented, and we got so much football left, if you didn't have a Caleb Williams ticket beginning of the season, but you put money on Jaden Daniels at 6-1 because you didn't think there was value in week 1 on Caleb, I mean, to me, what are you doing? I put a few bucks on Caleb Williams right now, and I'd have a Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels ticket because I still think because he plays quarterback and he plays in Chicago, they've got some primetime games still later on this year, I'm not ready to write off Caleb Williams by any means for this award.
So here's what I love about what you just said. It's more math or kind of reasoning than anything else. The value now makes it a no-brainer, and quarterbacks often win this award. Okay, with all due respect to Neighbors, who's off to an incredible start. I'm obsessed with him. I love Malik Neighbors. But you would have both tickets at that point at incredible value on the quarterbacks. I have not seen anything from the Bears that makes me think that Williams and that offense will turn it around. But it happens like that, right? I mean, it could just be that they come out this week, they have a get-right game, Keenan Allen and the whole group, get healthy all at once, and they start moving the football. Do I see that happening? No. But if it does, you're going to want that ticket this week rather than waiting a week and getting it at, say, 5-1 or something like that. So I actually think that makes sense because the goal should be to check the quarterback boxes because that's the highest likeliness of the outcome here. A Williams, again, if he gets to 4,000 yards and 22 touchdowns and the Bears win 9 or 10 games with that defense they could, I just told you. I mean, he could absolutely overtake a 1,600-yard season from Malik Neighbors. We just saw it last year. That's how this goes. Tell you, though, this Bears offense is a disaster, and it's beyond Caleb Williams. I actually feel bad for him to an extent. He's not playing well, to be clear. It has not gone well for him. He had his chance in prime time to on a big stage to make his big announcement like Jaden Daniels did. And it did the opposite. Threw a couple picks. It was gross. But we are on red alert territory for Shane Waldron if something doesn't change in the next week or two. I think it's been that bad. Really, legitimately.
Caleb Williams, they can't keep him upright. Other than Jacoby Brissett, Jacoby Brissett, Gardner Minshew, and Caleb Williams have been sacked more than any other quarterback in the NFL to this point, 9 times. 9 times already. It's only week 3. He's getting ready for his 4th NFL game. that's a huge part of the equation. And yeah, I mean, I just was not sold on the offensive coordinator situation to begin with. So my thoughts on Williams is strictly what you laid out from a betting angle only. And hey, give me two quarterbacks at that price, etc. But I don't disagree with anything you're saying in terms of what we've actually seen and the faith or lack of faith that I have in that coaching staff to figure this thing out. I mean, we talked about this in July. I said I still think best case scenario for the Bears in a weird way is that they win like 8 games or something, but Caleb Williams towards the back end of the season figures it out just individually, but they still move on from the coaching staff. And someone like Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick, et cetera, are the head coach of that football team next year.
All right, so let's look then at some teams and odds right now to get into the playoffs, taking a quick peek at the standings, because I think one of the big mistakes that we make, and maybe we're doing it with the Bears right now, is we take that 3-week sample with still the marathon out in front, 15 more weeks to go. We're barely, a fifth of the way through this thing, and we assume that what we've seen is gospel. As an example, right now, the 49ers are 1-2. I think we all know they're going to be in really good shape when this season ends. There are other clubs, though, that are off to great starts, whether it's Minnesota or Pittsburgh, that we didn't see coming. So find me a team right now that is outside of the playoffs, and I'm going to exclude San Francisco because I think that's too easy. In the NFC, that you would give a real good chance to making the playoffs. So that could be a one-win team I'm looking for. Atlanta, Arizona, the Rams, the Bears, the Panthers, or the Giants.
Yeah, so the Rams are 3-1 right now, Grant. And some of this, admittedly, is based off of preseason thoughts. I told you I was extremely high on the Rams coming into this year, and we know they have been decimated by injuries. I had the Rams in the NFC title game, for crying out loud. That might look silly and foolish to some of you right now, and I get it. The injuries have been horrific. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, offensive line injuries. That defense was already going to be an issue in the secondary, and then they suffered some more. But they just beat a 49ers team who also dealing with some injuries now. That was a gutsy, really impressive win by Sean McVay and the Rams this past week. And it, to me, saved their season, obviously. And so I have 3-1 to make the playoffs. I don't hate it, man. I don't hate that at all. Admittedly, I have not bet it yet because I didn't know if 3-1 was still the number. I thought I was still plus 175 or something like that. But I don't hate the Rams possibility there in an NFC where we were just discussing to start the show. I mean, tell me who we actually think is clearly the best team in the NFC. I know the Vikings are undefeated, but are we 100% sold they're the best team in the NFC? I'm not, even though Kevin O'Connell is doing a great job. Sam Darnold looks really, really good, but I'm not sold they're the team to beat in the NFC. And so in their own division, you mentioned the Niners. We all think they're going to be fine, but right now they've got some issues with some injuries. McCaffrey may not play this year. Who knows? And then, the Seahawks, I get it. Everybody's excited about them, but they haven't played anybody. And right now, credit to them, you got to beat who's on your schedule. But they got a lot of work to do to convince me, the Seattle Seahawks. So
yeah, to clarify on Seattle, they beat Denver in week 1. They beat the Patriots at overtime by a field goal in week 2. And then a 3-touchdown win over the Dolphins this past week without Tua. So
and Tim Boyle was playing.
That feels like fool's gold after the beatdown of Skylar Thompson. But yeah, those are the 2 3-0 teams in the conference. And the Vikings, the reason they're probably legit, and I don't mean that they're going to be the best team, in the conference, but their defense is outstanding. Brian Flores should have a head coaching job next year. He did a pretty good job making a bad defense solid last year. Well, they've now gone from solid to excellent. They're the best defense in the league, best pressuring, pass rushing, sack accumulating defense in football at this point. They've already got 15 through 3 games, which is just crazy. They're not going away. So I think that defense elevates them. The head start with 3 wins, O'Connell as a play caller, they're going to be around all season. The team I would say, and I don't know if this even counts because it's still minus money to make the playoffs, but if you're looking for a 1-win team, I don't love this team by any means right now, but I think there's reason to hope that they're still ascending with that fan base, is the 1-2 Atlanta Falcons. Like, Kirk Cousins looked brutal in week 1, and we talked about it on this show. And I don't mean he was, like, terrible throwing the football as much as didn't look like he could move, he could plant, he could drive. He looked like he had a long ways to go to get back from the Achilles. Week 2, obviously, he had the marvelous final drive, and they come back and beat Atlanta. they very easily could have beat Kansas City, who they led for the vast majority of the night in week 3, and kind of got screwed over by a call late in that football game. I don't think that means they definitely would have won, but that's what happened. So they're either, 1-2, 2-1 on that margin. Now this week is a massive home game. They're a favorite over the Saints. I'm not sure I would even pick them to win that game outright, but if they do, and if they can, and Atlanta gets to 2-2, they might even be a wild card team as of the end of this weekend, because both their losses are against AFC teams. I think that's important to remember. Like, it's too early to talk about tie-breaking stuff, but if you could design a 1-2 record for them, you'd say, well, make sure you beat the NFC team, lose to the 2 AFC teams. So if they beat New Orleans, they're 1-0 in their division, they're 2-0 in the conference, super tiebreaker friendly. I think that's part of why it's still minus money for them to make the playoffs, because those AFC losses don't matter as much as an NFC loss would. They're minus 130 right now to get in.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense, and definitely, heck, in that division, we know the tie-breaking stuff matters, man. I mean, you want to talk about a division where it always comes down to tiebreakers. It's the NFC South, my goodness. So that is a key point to mention about what they're doing. So, yeah, I mean, it's minus money, but I hear you, it's minus 130. And then real quick, just because I was going over at our friends at BetMGM where they have some of these teams, one stood out to me. Now, this is not a 1-2 team, so this doesn't fit our initial criteria. But tell me if you're not like, you know what? This team has put enough wins on the board already that I think this number is intriguing. Maybe on the other side, Steelers to make the playoffs minus 150, to not make the playoffs plus 125. So if you're just not a believer in the Steelers, off to a 3-0 start, you still look at Justin Fields, all of that, knowing the division they're in, you think Cincy maybe gets going. You think Baltimore maybe gets going. The Steelers, on the flip side of this, at plus 125, despite being 3-0, is kind of interesting, are they not?
Yeah, they are, but why not just get real frisky then? And then, I don't know that you're able to parlay, but you can make separate bets. If not,
yeah.
If the Steelers are out, then you should have the Ravens and the Bengals in, potentially, right? I mean, the Bengals are the deeper shot there at 0 for the season to this point at 0-3, but they have a potential get-right landing spot. You said that last week with Washington. But the Andy Dalton revenge game in Carolina this week. Now, if you lose, they're just done. They'll have lost 4 games. They'll have lost to Washington and Carolina back-to-back. But if you think the Steelers aren't making the playoffs, it stands to reason then you've got Baltimore putting some, logs on the fire here in the weeks ahead, getting back right, and Cincinnati as well. So, I mean, if all 3 of those things happen, you'd get a real nice return.
Yeah, they don't let you parlay it looks like, over at MGM. But for reference, Steelers not to make the playoffs, plus 125. Bengals to make the playoffs, plus 125. And then for the Ravens to make the playoffs, a heavy minus 225. So a lot of believers still out there in the Ravens. And look, we're going to go through these games. I think the Ravens are beating the Bills on Sunday. So that to me makes sense why the number is minus 225.
All right, you just teased one of the great games of the weekend. There are a bunch of good ones. Vikings, Packers, Eagles, Bucks, the Seahawks, and the Lions. Has been a shootout. A couple of straight years with both teams scoring over 40 points. That's in prime time. We'll get into our picks against the spread for some of these key matchups. We'll do that next on Countdown 2, BetQL and the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at Metamucil.com.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh cracked American cheese bacon. And the second bite is like fresh cracked American cheese bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Happy Saturday, Northern Michigan. I'm 910 News Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens. For the rest of your Saturday, really nice. Going to be looking at a mix of sun and clouds over mostly sunny skies. Highs will be in the mid-70s to mid-80s today, so if you do have any plans of getting out and about or enjoying the weather, today's a great day to do it. Now, as we head into tonight, going to be looking at your overnight lows in the mid-50s to mid-60s, as we will be looking at clouds on the increase as we have a system rolling in for Sunday. In fact, we'll have mostly cloudy skies out there with scattered rain showers for your Sunday. Looks to be kind of one of those days where you stay in and just kind of hang out and watch some movies, as we'll have those soggy conditions and highs in the low 70s to low 80s. For 910 News, I'm Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens.
Tune in to WGRY every Thursday afternoon for the Odawa Casino Weekend Ramp-Up. A quick one-minute look at all that's happening at Northern Michigan's destination for fun and entertainment. Odawa Casino, Y101, Up North Sports Radio.
Paid for by Airtime Media.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There is a tremendous price war in the term life industry. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man aged 45, non-smoker, can get $1 million of coverage for $75 per month, level rate for 10 years. Or a man aged 50, non-smoker, can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of $110, level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-smoker rate class. Exam required to qualify.
Attention all patriots. This is Jason Hansen, former CIA officer and security expert. I have an urgent message for anyone who's concerned about their financial future. In a world filled with economic uncertainty and geopolitical turmoil, it's never been more important to have a rock-solid plan for protecting your wealth. That's why I'm inviting you to a special financial briefing this Thursday. During this exclusive summit, you'll get proven top strategies for safeguarding your hard-earned assets and securing your financial independence. We'll cover everything from diversifying your portfolio to creating a fail-safe emergency fund. Don't leave your future to chance. Call my friends at Advantage Gold today at 800-741-GOLD to register at no cost whatsoever. In today's uncertain times, it's critical to have a solid plan in place to protect your finances and secure your future. Call 800-741-GOLD now to register for this 100% free summit. That's 800-741-GOLD.
Paid for by Advantage Gold. Performance may vary. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Always consult your financial and tax professional.
Welcome back to Countdown 2 on the BetQL Network, presented by BetMGM. The sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today.
Thanks for checking us out on Countdown 2. Alex Gold and Grant Paulson with you. Much appreciate everybody making the show part of their Saturday, BetQL, and the Infinity Sports Network. Let's look at some of the marquee matchups for Week 4. Tomorrow and Monday in the National Football League. We'll start with the Vikings at the Packers. Green Bay, despite playing 3-0 Minnesota, as hosts, is a 2.5-point favorite. The total in the game is 43.5. Does the line smell a little bit to you? Green Bay hosting the unbeaten Vikings and laying 2.5 gold?
This is identical to a game we're going to talk about in like 5 minutes. with the Bills and the Ravens, right? Same scenario. Right. The Bills are 3-0. They're facing a Ravens team that finally got their win at home, and they're 2.5-point favorites. And I'm sure there's people that look at that and say, hey, the Bills should be the favorite. Kind of the same thing, man. That's the same vibe I'm getting here. And when I get that vibe, and much like I will with the Ravens, I like the Packers here, -2.5. I know the Vikings are undefeated. We just got done praising Kevin O'Connell, and it's deserved. We praised Justin Jefferson, deserved. Sam Darnold. All that is true. All that can be true. And still, I like the Green Bay Packers here. I know it's not 100% yet on where things are going to stand fully with the health of everybody involved in this game. But it's at Lambeau. This feels like a game in which Sam Darnold, I don't want to say comes back to earth, because I think with Kevin O'Connell is going to be just fine this year. I think what he was in New York is more representative of that franchise's history, see Geno Smith, etc. But I also think Sam Darnold might make a mistake or two in this game against Green Bay. And I think the Packers are going to be able to sustain some drives with that rushing attack that has been really effective, not just with Josh Jacobs, but the young kid Wilson as well. And I think that's crucial in this game. Can they have some longer sustained drives? Whereas last week, the Texans were never able to get the running game fully going because of the score. I know Cam Akers was in, but they never got it going because they fell behind so early.
So I think Jordan Love's going to play. Let's start there. He has practiced every day this week. He's been listed limited. The video that's come out that we've seen of him at practice, he's running around and he looks pretty normal, I would say. I'm not a doctor. I just play one on BetQL and the Infinity Sports Network. The other thing, though, Gold, is if you watched his pregame warm-ups, there was a video that came out from, last weekend. He looked pretty good then, even. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know, what his health is. But there's a difference between a guy that looks like he's trying to come back too soon and someone who looks like he could actually do everything he needs to do. And I would kind of go to that side of the ledger for him. So I think he's going to play. First, do you disagree with that?
No, I think so. I thought last week when we discussed him, it was like, hey, look at the opponent you're playing. No reason to push this. Wait till you get a big divisional game, and here we are.
Yeah, and a huge divisional game. Not to make too much out of this on September 29th tomorrow, but if the Vikings beat the Packers and have a 2-game cushion with a win in hand, it just feels like there's a legitimacy to what they're doing, and this is not some fluke. Whereas 3-1 still a really good start, but now you're 0 for the division, and on top of that, head-to-head with the Packers, you got a measuring stick game, and you came up short. So I think this is a critical game for both teams. I do think Green Bay wins. My thought most of the week was to go with Minnesota and the points, but I actually at the end of the week have kind of decided, after seeing more and more of what Jordan Love looked like from some of the stuff that came out of practice, I'm going to roll with the Packers to lay the number. This is something that for years, and I've even in the 3 or 4 years now we've worked together, probably become more and more falling in line on this. If you remember these smelly lines that I'm like, I'm going with the people here. They're wrong. At some point, you just got to say, look, -2.5 when it doesn't make sense. Let's go on the side.
If I gave you the half point, or if you bought the half point, would that change it for you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because if I could get that push, I think it would. And maybe on a teaser or something, I would consider doing that. All right, Eagles-Bucks. Eagles -1 at Tampa Bay. I'm all over Tampa. This is actually one of my favorite plays of the weekend. No Devontae Smith, possibly no A.J. Brown. Tampa's at home for a second straight week. The Eagles are on the road for a second time in as many weeks. If you look at the numbers historically, and certainly in recent years, teams that are on the road for the second time in 7 days, home for the second time in 7 days, the win-losses respectively there are massive. It's terrible to travel twice in a row. It's great to be home twice in a row. On top of that, all the injuries for the Eagles. I think Tampa wins this game probably by a touchdown or so, but I really like them catching a point.
It sounds like it, yeah. It sounds like this is a game that you feel pretty good about overall. Look, it's basically a pick-em, as you pointed out, with the line and where it sits. I kind of think A.J. Brown may not play in this game. With that said, though, I'm curious to see what the Bucs look like. They've been kind of hard to figure out. They got off to a really good start. They obviously went to Detroit, found a way to get a win there. Didn't look as great the last time. For me with Tampa, I want to know what their running back situation is. We know about Chris Godwin, who was questionable during the week. He's now ruled. He's not even on the injury report, I don't think. So Chris Godwin, who's been great to start this season. But what are they doing with Rachaad White and Bucky Irving? There's a lot of people that believe Bucky Irving should be the starting running back or get more work. I'm not so sure they're going to do that. He's also questionable this week. Can Tampa Bay shut down the run of the Philadelphia Eagles? I think this is going to be a performance for Jalen Hurts in which, we'll come back here next Saturday and say, man, that looked like MVP Jalen Hurts in terms of being mobile. That's what's going to have to happen again. It's a big reason why they were obviously went out and had the performance they had just a week ago. I like the Eagles here, actually, man. On the road, I hear you on the trend about going on the road and the travel and what that does to a football team. Maybe this is me still being a little NFC South bias, I guess, but I think the Eagles is one they get. I think they get Saquon Barkley going again. I think you're going to see them use the tight end some more. We started to see a glimpse of that when they didn't have A.J. Brown a week ago. I think that's something they can build on. And I just don't know if the Bucs have an answer for the running attack of both Hurts and Barkley.
Yeah, that's going to be the key, obviously. But it's big Jalen Hurts spot as far as I'm concerned. They need him to step up, and I don't mean necessarily as a passer if you don't have your top two receivers, but he's got to make some plays with his feet, got to protect the football. I really like Bucky Irving, for the record. 9 for 70, 32-yard run, 7.8 a pop. Last week he's had 9, 7, and 9 carries so far this season. It's basically a timeshare. White's got 31 carries. He's got 25. Irving's averaging 6 a pop. White's averaging 2.1. I mean, that is stark. Pretty night and day difference between those two backs in the backfield. All right, let's continue looking at some of our favorite games against the spread. We got Chiefs-Chargers on here. Interesting because of the line, I'd say. -7 for Kansas City at the Chargers. There's some Justin Herbert health concerns. What's your gut tell you on this one?
So it's a divisional game. I mean, typically, usually when you start looking at a Chiefs-Chargers game and how these two teams match up, like I don't care that the Chargers are extremely banged up. It's kind of the JV squad that's going to be out there. What I'm saying is some way, somehow, this game's going to be closer than people think. I think it's going to be a low-scoring, ugly game. I think the official score I gave locally was 21-17 Chiefs, so that's the Chargers cover. I think there's a chance that late in the game, it's a cover, and then you get a backdoor cover from Taylor Heineke, who I'll be honest, man. I know it's a divisional game. I don't know why on earth Herbert played last week. I don't know why he would play this week. He's dealing with multiple injuries. They have backup left tackle, backup right tackle. I know Harbaugh's old school football guy, and maybe that's what's happening here. I don't know why he played a week ago. He had to leave the game because he re-aggravated an injury, and then knowing your tackle situation, I wouldn't play him. Not to mention Bosa is banged up. Derwin James is being suspended, or is suspended, I should say, for a week in this game. So the Chiefs win this, but I think it's one of these frustrating, low-scoring games where Kansas City kind of leans on the run, and it's frustrating red zone, settling for field goals again, which has been the story. It'll be one of those where they get to 4-0, but nobody's feeling better about their offense.
So I completely stayed away from this game for some of what you just kind of said. I mean, succinctly, I don't know if the Chiefs' offense is good enough to cover 7 points right now. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. But if Herbert doesn't play, they should absolutely beat the Chargers by more than 7. You said it, though, and you know better than anybody else on this program. Like, these division games, these rivalries sometimes, they end up being just closer than they should. Weird things happen, which I know is not data-driven or analytical analysis, but the history tells you. I mean, you've watched enough of these games to see it. I guess if I had to play a side, I would take the Chiefs -7, and I would hold my nose, but I'm not going to because I just think they should win this game, especially if we see Taylor Heineke. They should absolutely win this game by more than a touchdown.
I think what scares people with this game is the trend that you mentioned to start the show today, which is where underdogs have been for the first 3 weeks. I mean, underdogs of 7 or more start of the season, 4-0 outright, not the cover, but outright winners. The first time that's happened since that underdogs of 7 or more have been above 500 since like 1956. So I think that scares some people off here. And then, yeah, I mean, the Chiefs defense has been playing great, but offensively, they're not the offense that I think people thought they would be coming into the start of the season. And so this will be just an ugly game that I don't think will be one people really remember.
All right, let's get to our final look at the Sunday games, and that's Sunday Night Football, the Bills and the Ravens. You mentioned this resembles a little bit of that Vikings-Packers game because it's 3-0 Buffalo at 1-2 Baltimore, and it's the Ravens laying 2.5 points here as favorites at home in Charm City. Totals 46.5.
this is one where, I mean, this is not necessarily indicated by the trend that would back this up, but this seems like the unbelievable spot where everybody looks at the Bills and says, well, they're 3-0. Josh Allen, you guys just said Josh Allen's playing better than any other quarterback in football. What do you mean they're underdogs on the road? I'm getting 2.5 points. Like, you would say, oh my gosh, I got to run to the window and take the Bills, but I'm not doing that at all here. I'm taking the Ravens to cover the 2.5 points. I do think this is one of those spots and what makes the NFL great, where most of the reasoning behind it, you would say, man, I'm getting a steal by getting the points with the Bills. I don't see that. I think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens got some confidence last week in Dallas. I know it ended up being much closer at the end, but I think they figured some things out with Derrick Henry, got him going a little bit more. I think this is going to be a game in which Lamar Jackson is a little bit more of the MVP Lamar in terms of he's going to, while durability is a long-term issue for the season, I think this is a game where he kind of takes over. He's going to be able to and will put his body on the line a little bit more than we saw last week. They didn't have to be in those spots. It's not a spot you want to be in, but this is that kind of game where I think we see Lamar Jackson. I don't know what it would be, 2+ touchdowns. I think you get some good numbers on that for him to run in 2 touchdowns in this game. I think this is a high-scoring game. Give me Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, too. It's not an upset, but it feels like one, so I'll take them.
Yeah, the Ravens are 8-2 straight up at night in home games with Lamar Jackson at quarterback, 6-1 straight up Sunday Night Football, won 5 in a row. Josh Allen era for Buffalo, they're 19-10 straight up and 14-15 against the spread, in prime time. If you look more recently, on the road or neutral site, 9-6 straight up at night in road games, 6-4 straight up on Sunday Night Football. A couple of things to note in this game. Justin Tucker is a mess right now. I don't know how we got here. He's 2 for 5 on field goals of 40-plus yards this season. He is the best kicker in the league ever, maybe, and certainly over the last decade or so.
Yeah, not anymore.
Dating back to last year, he's 1 for 7 on kicks of 50-plus yards. That's unheard of for him. So I'm just shocked to see that. And if he's lining up for a big kick from 49, 52, it's not as automatic as you think. I mean, kickers are like golfers, right? Where it's all mental. And right now you can see he's frustrated and kind of talking to himself after kicks. So that's something to keep in mind. The Ravens are really good against the run, though. They're number 1 in the NFL against the run. Josh Allen poses the biggest threat, but Buffalo does have a pretty good run game going with James Cook. Ravens allowing 2.8 yards per run. Allen comes into this game, if you're ever looking for something to bet for him in Buffalo, as one of the most profitable bettors, the Bills, one of the most profitable teams, to the second half over or second half spread. They're really, really good in that regard. Since 2005, you got to go back almost 19 years. Allen, the second most profitable quarterback on second half spreads. In 2024, 3-0, and now second half spreads. So that's something to keep in mind, I think, on the road, too. They normally get their act together at halftime if things go sideways early. I like the Bills in this game. I think they get to 4-0. I think the Ravens are, coming into the year, I kind of had them more down maybe than some people said that they may miss the playoffs. I like what they looked like in the first half against Dallas, but they let the Cowboys get all the way back into that game. So I'll roll with the Bills plus 2.5 on Sunday Night Football. Which brings us to Monday Night Football. The Seahawks, the Lions. This has been a shootout the last couple of years. Totals 46.5. The Lions are -3 and a hook coming off their win against the Cardinals.
The hook scares you, but I mean, we just went through the schedule for Seattle. I'm just not a believer at all. Mike McDonald's done a great job with the defense 3 weeks in, but I just haven't seen him play anybody. This is a step up in competition, to say the least. And so I really worry about Seattle in this spot, even getting a couple of points. Based off of their performance against other teams that you mentioned, the overtime win against the Patriots. It's not like they're 3-0 against bad teams, but they've blown them out. And I know this is the NFL, blowouts don't happen all that often, but they've been 3-0, and they're very fortunate to be 3-0 against those teams. Now you're going up against Jared Goff, who I still don't think has played all that great yet. I think that performance happens on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I worry a little bit about how Goff and that offense look, which is weird because he's been automatic, and they've been a juggernaut for a couple of years. I'll give you my pick on that game. We'll make our best bets and look at the college schedule today next before we say goodbye on Countdown 2.
You're in a 5-minute break.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Wendy's breakfast burrito has an entire breakfast in every bite. Fresh cracked eggs, seasoned potatoes, American cheese, cheese sauce, and sausage or bacon. So the first bite is like fresh cracked American cheese, bacon. And the second bite is like fresh cracked American cheese, bacon. And the third bite, you get the idea. The boss of breakfast burritos, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Michigan football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown, and he throws an awesome block so his teammate can score instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Everyone knows the...
There are a lot of things out there going viral. Dance challenges, health hacks, pet videos. But you can help keep your immune system from going viral and help protect it from the COVID-19 virus by getting the vaccine. The world has enough going viral these days. Talk to your healthcare provider about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
It came out of the darkness. You didn't have time to react. Now you got front-end damage. What next? Easy. Choose Jim's. You find your car in the parking lot? Wait, where'd that scratch come from? Where do you go now? Well, that's easy too. Choose Jim's. You finally got your dream truck. Want to deck it out? Easy. Choose Jim's. Jim's Collision in Roscommon. From collision repair to awesome accessory, they make a bad day better. ChooseJims.com. That's ChooseJims.com.
Swipe, win, and go bonkers for the Cash Craze Extravaganza at Saganing Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel. Every Saturday in September, earn 1,000 points and swipe at a kiosk for the chance to score premium play or bonus entries into that night's cash drawings. From 12 p.m. to 10 p.m., winners will be drawn every hour to win a share of $60,000 cash. Get in on the Cash Craze, only at Saganing Eagles Landing Casino and Hotel. Real fun, real friendly. Visit saganing-eagleslanding.com for complete rules and details.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There is a tremendous price war in the term life industry. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, a man aged 45, non-smoker, can get $1 million of coverage for $75 per month, level rate for 10 years. Or a man aged 50, non-smoker, can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of $110, level rate for 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rate for 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote. 1-800-908-7636. You're probably paying more than you should. Call 1-800-908-7636. Remember, 1-800-908-7636. Sample rate quotes based on preferred non-smoker rate class. Exam required to qualify.
Attention all patriots. This is Jason Hansen, former CIA officer and security expert. I have an urgent message for anyone who's concerned about their financial future. In a world filled with economic uncertainty and geopolitical turmoil, it's never been more important to have a rock-solid plan for protecting your wealth. That's why I'm inviting you to a special financial briefing this Thursday. During this exclusive summit, you'll get proven top strategies for safeguarding your hard-earned assets and securing your financial independence. We'll cover everything from diversifying your portfolio to creating a fail-safe emergency fund. Don't leave your future to chance. Call my friends at Advantage Gold today at 800-741-GOLD to register at no cost whatsoever. In today's uncertain times, it's critical to have a solid plan in place to protect your finances and secure your future. Call 800-741-GOLD now to register for this 100% free summit. That's 800-741-GOLD.
Paid for by Advantage Gold. Performance may vary. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Always consult your financial and tax professional.
Stretch run of Countdown 2. Welcome back, Golden Paulson. BetQL and the Infinity Sports Network. We're about 20 minutes away from college football kicking off on this 5th Saturday of the season, and we are now 25-plus hours away from another weekend of rock in the National Football League. Seahawks-Lions Monday night. I just wanted to circle back really quick. Some trends I saw that were interesting. Jared Goff, you mentioned, is not playing all that well. Jared Goff has really struggled against the Seahawks in his career, both with the Rams in the division and now since with the Lions, although he's put up some decent numbers. So, some of these against the spread things are a little quirky, but for whatever reason, 4-7 against the spread with Seattle, least profitable opponent for him against any team in the National Football League. I found that interesting. As far as this particular matchup, the Seahawks and Lions have played each other in each of the last 3 seasons, combining to score 68, 93, and 80 points. So if you're not taking the over in this game, I don't know what you're doing. This feels like a big-time over. The Seahawks are the first team to start 3-0 and allow fewer than 150 passing yards in each game since the 1979 Steelers. I think that has more to do with their schedule than anything else. They've played the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson. They played the Patriots with Jacoby Brissett, and obviously the debut on the road of Bo Nix. But all that having been said, some notes on this football game. I just don't like the way Goff and the Lions offense looks. With Ben Johnson, who's one of the great play designers and callers in the league, who's been interviewing for jobs the last couple of off seasons and turning them down to stay in Detroit, and the continuity that they have, it's a really slow start to the year for Sam Laporta, who got hurt but came back into the game last week. Amon-Ra St. Brown, by his standards, has been down. Goff has struggled, I think, through a couple of games, a lot of turnover-worthy plays, interceptable passes. They got to get right, and maybe this is the week they do it.
Yeah, I think I would be more concerned in other years. I mean, how many times, whether we're talking about Detroit, Baltimore, who was it was an AFC title game, the Chiefs, who, of course, were in the AFC title game and beyond that, the 49ers, who were the NFC title game. Like, think about all these teams a year ago, and I understand it's a new season, but these teams that were Final Four a year ago, and all of them, some have continued to win, some have lost multiple games, but even the ones that have continued to win have not looked right. I mean, I think it's the story of the NFL, and I would be more concerned about Goff and that offense having issues if I didn't see that with all the other perceived contenders as well. You know what I mean? And so I think it's a conversation you and I had a week ago, not playing in the preseason, not so much playing with your food and waiting till the postseason, but I think there is some truth to that. It's something we talk a ton about here locally, and I wonder if that is happening in Detroit. I wonder if that's happening in other where it's not boredom by any means. It's just kind of like, hey, we're slowly building up to something here, and in these teams that have been in the postseason multiple years, and in the Lions case, obviously last year was their breakout year. I think there's more of a build-up throughout a season than a team that is trying to quote-unquote make a statement right out of the gate for the first time. I just think we've seen this shift a little bit for the contenders.
Sure. I do have them covering, for the record, just to go on the record. -3.5. I don't love that half point. You're having to win by 4, but the Lions 16-7 against the spread with Goff at quarterback the last 2 years, 28-12 over the last 3 years. I think this is a good spot for them to get another cover. They've been machine, one of the most profitable teams over a 3-year stretch that we've seen recently in the league. All right, let's get to college football in Week 5. Georgia and Alabama tonight. That game is going to tee off in about 8 hours. Georgia's a 1.5-point favorite. The total in the game is 48.5. I'll wait on my bet because I think mine might surprise you a little bit. So what do you got?
Well, yeah, you and I have not talked, so I don't know where your direction you're headed in here. That number has changed. I got a different number earlier in the week when Alabama was a 2.5-point dog. At home, I like Alabama to cover and win this thing outright, by the way. And I mentioned how they don't usually play this early on in the season. I think that actually helps Alabama here a little bit. It's a new regime. We haven't seen Smart go up against this Alabama regime. I think this is going to be a little bit lower scoring, but Jalen Milroe has that big play ability, obviously. And so if this was in Georgia, I think I would probably take the Bulldogs. This is a coin flip type of game, so give me the team that's getting points, and I think Alabama wins this one, and then Georgia maybe gets them in a rematch later on this year, depending on how you think the SEC is going. But these are two teams that typically don't play in September, man. They don't play. I mean, when's the last time they played in the month of September? I actually think that favors the underdog here.
Yeah, did you realize since 2008, Georgia's 1-8 straight up and 4-5 against the spread against Alabama? Third straight time now these two teams have met where Georgia's been the favorite. Alabama's last 3 games as an underdog during the regular season have all come against Georgia. Last year, 2021, 2015, and their regular season game as an underdog against anyone but Georgia. Last time on the schedule, you got to go all the way back to 2009 against Florida and Tim Tebow, which is kind of crazy. 113 consecutive home games as a favorite. Alabama going to be a home dog against Georgia. I like them to win this game outright as well. I like them to cover the number. I like them to win. The fact that everyone seems to be now kind of picking that same side does give me a lot of pause, I'll be honest, because normally I wait till the final day, like today, on a game like this. I see where all the momentum is, and with 2 great teams in the top 5, I go the other direction. But against my better judgment here, I'm just going to go with my own smell test. I think Alabama at home, as you said, 4th game with a regime that this group hasn't prepared for, uncharted territory, being able to use, being a home dog as kind of their own, motivator. I think a lot of these things work in their favor. I'm just not as sold on the Georgia offense and Beck as a lot of people are. I think Carson Beck's fine, but we're going to find out how good he is in this game and kind of a legacy spot for him.
Yeah, I mean, this changes the trajectory for obvious reasons for both these teams, puts them in a great path and position going forward. Based on schedule, I mean, it's hard to say, like, quote unquote, like, who needs the game more kind of thing. That's always a silly conversation at times. But knowing what's ahead, I mean, Alabama still has Missouri on the schedule, who's undefeated, a top 10 team. This is, of course, Georgia's their biggest game on the schedule. But I think this one, if you're talking about, big picture stuff, this is one that Alabama needs a little bit more. Georgia already has the win against Clemson earlier this season where they just beat them up in I guess that would have been the opener or whatever, the first week of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl or whatever that was called, the kickoff game. So I think Bama in a way needs this kind of more from the resume perspective. Not that you have to be undefeated or anything in the SEC. We know you can be a 1 or 2 loss team and get in, especially with the expanded playoff, we presume. But I think Bama definitely could have this statement win, and this could change how they project for a college football playoff.
All right, let's get to our best bets before we get out of here on Countdown 2 as we get ready for kickoff 10 minutes from now in college football.
Let's keep it together. This is a big dirty. Grant Paulson and Alex Gold give you today's
Never tell me the odds.
Best bet on Countdown 2.
All right, let's go with college football. I'll call this a little sunflower parlay. And for those that don't know why I'm calling it a sunflower parlay, we're going with 2 teams in the state of Kansas. Normally I don't do this. Normally I actually shy away from doing this in college football. But the Kansas State Wildcats have a huge game against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. That one kicks off here in just a little while. 2 top 25 teams. The Wildcats, 6-point favorites at home in Manhattan. They're coming off a tough loss in Provo, Utah on that, a Friday night game, I guess it would have been, or late Saturday night game. Avery Johnson, their young quarterback, made some mistakes in that second half. I think they have reined him in too much. I think they unleash him today and need to in terms of his dual threat capability, plus DJ Giddens and Dylan Edwards on the ground. I really think K-State might blow out Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has a great running back, one of the best in the country in Ollie Gordon. But they're 115th in running the football are the Cowboys. They have not been able to get him going. So I like K-State -6. And then the sunflower portion of this to tie it together, the Kansas Jayhawks, who have been a big disappointment coming off a loss against UNLV. They're 1.5-point favorites against TCU, has been dreadful as well. This game is actually technically a home game for Kansas. They're playing home games this year at Arrowhead in Kansas City due to stadium renovations. But give me both those 2 teams to cover on a little parlay today.
So we're actually in lockstep because one of my favorite bets this weekend is Kansas State -5 or wherever you're getting that number now. Because I thought even though 38-9 blowout BYU last week was on the scoreboard, it didn't look like that. I mean, they ran for 230 yards. They did some really good things, and I like them a lot in that spot with that line. I'll go a different way, though, to go on the record with my own game. Wisconsin at USC. USC laying 15 and change is, I think, where I had it. I like Wisconsin to cover this number. Luke Fickell's opened things up offensively, and it has not gone the way they wanted, clearly. Throwing the football, they lose Tyler Van Dyke, the transfer from Miami. Having said that, I just think they're going to be able to run the football enough and play enough defense to get a backdoor cover here at 15.5. You look at Fickell as a conference underdog, 11-6-1. I think it's a big number, contrasting styles, conflicting ways to play. Wisconsin loses the game, but can keep it within 15.5 against USC, who's a little more finesse for me. So I like that number there. How about in the NFL? What's your favorite play?
Yeah, we touched on some of the marquee games for the weekend. Against the spread, I really do like this one against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's down in Tampa. I understand the travel trend there, but I think Jalen Hurts is actually going to put together a really strong performance. I don't know how the Bucs contain him and Barkley, so Philly -1 is one of my favorite NFL plays here in week number 4.
I got to go with the Bengals against the Panthers, and I know how good Carolina looked last week. Dalton was awesome. That was so predictable almost, in the least predictable of ways, and if it makes any sense, that, Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, would come off the bench like he did last year when he threw for 380 and just light it up. Now he's got his revenge opportunity. The Bengals are playing for their entire season, and even though they lost to Washington, they did not punt. Their offense with T. Higgins back looked way better. Joe Burrow lit it up. They basically need a stop or two. They need a takeaway. They need some hits of the quarterback. And Adam Thielen's out for Carolina, who's a bit of a third-down war daddy, chain mover type guy who means a lot to them. So I think they cover that number, win by a touchdown against Carolina. Panthers read their press clippings, come back down to earth a little bit.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all 3 with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
It's Yacht Round to float your boat. Saturday, October 5th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, the Little River Band. Special guest, the Atlanta Rhythm Section. Tickets as low as $35 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office and etix.com. Smooth sailing, October 5th at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort, the Little River Band and Atlanta Rhythm Section, SoaringEagleCasino.com.
It's time to rev up those chainsaws and leaf blowers. McLean's Repair Shop on South James Street in Grayling is here and ready to service your equipment before you tackle your fall cleanup. And if it appears that equipment just won't make it another season, McLean's carries a great line of steel products that will make the job go smooth and easy. Don't wait until it stops working. Bring it in now. They're ready to fix it up so you can rev it up. McLean's Repair Shop on South James Street in Grayling.
Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from Spin on Sports, Michigan Sports Talk Morning Show on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 right here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY. Whether it's Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Michigan, Michigan State, the Big Ten, the Mid-American Conference, All the headlines, all the stories, and always Michigan teams first. It's all right here on Spin on Sports. Weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard locally on Up North Sports Radio, 101.1 WGRY.
Withstand the death of the dollar and possibly even thrive in the face of an economic collapse. Call my friends at Advantage Gold today at 800-741-GOLD to register at no cost whatsoever. In today's uncertain times, it's critical to have a solid plan in place to protect your finances. Call 800-741-GOLD now to register for this 100% free event. Again, 800-741-GOLD.
Paid for by Advantage Gold. Performance may vary. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Always consult your financial and tax professional.
Do you have over $10,000 in credit card debt? The stress from excessive credit card debt can ruin your life. Collection calls, sleepless nights. If you're feeling the financial impact with unprecedented economic challenges, DebtBlue is here for you. DebtBlue uses secret programs that most credit card companies won't tell you about. They'll help you consolidate or settle your debts for a fraction of what you owe. With DebtBlue's Success Guarantee, you pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. There's no risk. The more you owe, the more DebtBlue can save you. See how easy it is to get started with free information. Let DebtBlue show you how 10 minutes could save you thousands. Call now. 800-200-6895. That's 800-200-6895.
I'm just living sky high right now. I'm very thankful for it, and the team at DebtBlue are phenomenal. They're able to work with you. They're great.
Call for your free debt resolution information now. 800-200-6895. 800-200-6895.
Do you have a special needs child or an older adult in your home? The risk of them leaving the house unnoticed is real and terrifying. But you can protect your loved ones with Vivint Home Security.
Alarm on. Our child has autism. He doesn't usually elope, but one day he did, and it was the most terrifying moment of our lives.
If I didn't have a home security system, I would have realized way too late he's gone.
Right now, Vivint is offering a free doorbell camera with any new plan, plus free installation and low monthly monitoring plans. Smart locks, lights, cameras, and more makes Vivint Home Security the smartest way to protect your family and prevent a tragedy. Vivint is the #1 smart home service provider in the U.S. Protection is just a phone call away. Call 800-953-6693. That's 800-953-6693. Monthly service agreement required for free installation.
WGRY, a division of Blarney Stone Broadcasting, 101.1 FM, Roscommon.
You're in the right place. The Infinity Sports Network.
Where's Rich Herrera?
Herrera can be a very effective receiver.
Everybody loves Rich Herrera. Hey, he is nothing but a head of hair and a winning smile.
Herrera, the answer.
Or should I say, the big fajita?
He's Rich Herrera.
You look like a big fajita.
Take it away, Rich.
Happy Saturday to you all. It is college football wall to wall. Thanks for joining us, everybody, on the Infinity Sports Network. The Big Fajita, Rich Herrera, running wild with you today. And oh boy, do we have a lot to get to kick off this Saturday of college football. Let me throw out the number for you. First of all, 855-212-4227, 855-212-4227. The number for you to join us. Just a huge day of college football. Sometimes we get quantity, sometimes we get quality, and sometimes we get best on best. And that's what this Saturday college football slate is all about. We'll run through all the big games in college football. We'll keep you apprised of all the action going on in college football. But what a way to start the weekend of college football. Last night, Hard Rock Stadium, the number 7 team in the nation, Mario Cristobal's University of Miami Hurricanes, trying to make a statement game on Friday against a team that has just always been a fly in the ointment for the U for the last 2 decades. And that's whether it's Beamer's son or Beamer dad, just always seems a way to bite the Miami Hurricanes just when they're about to ascend back to their rightful place at the top of the college football hierarchy. Then there comes that game against Virginia Tech. A lot of times these are Thursday trap games. I said going into this, it's a Friday trap game. That's certainly what it was. Cam Ward,
Another great night, couple costly interceptions. Miami should have blown them out. But again, Miami just finds a way sometimes to just step on its own foot, to step on that rake, just to have self-inflicted pain. And that's what has kept them from getting back to the top of the heap, winning the ACC. And last night was another perfect example where they put themselves in a spot to win, but just couldn't close the deal. And last night, it came down to the final play of the game. I'm calling it the shock at the Rock, Hard Rock Stadium, the trap game for the Miami Hurricanes. Virginia Tech having upset their mind yet again, trying to show and flex their dominance over the University of Miami. Canes with just seconds left on the clock on defense, and it all came down to this play. Miami desperately trying to hold off on defense, which is desperately trying to hold them off all game long, desperately trying to make something happen all game long. And again, Miami just trying to get past Virginia Tech, to have that opportunity to run the tables. They got maybe one or two tough games all season. You beat Virginia Tech, you beat Louisville. You've got a clear shot to get to that college football playoff. In fact, a lot of places having them ranked at number 3 right now as they look who's going to be heading over to the college football playoffs. But Miami just couldn't pull away from Virginia Tech when they needed to. Seconds on the clock. Miami desperately trying to hold off Virginia Tech. The crowd going wild. And I'll tell you what, if you ever want to know why people love college sports and the drama of college sports, last night in Miami was the best example that I think anybody could ever come up with of the drama of what college sports is all about. And again, Virginia Tech, a couple timeouts, need to drive the field. They're down by 4. Now remember, Virginia Tech had an opportunity to kick a field goal. They tried the fake field goal, didn't work. They didn't put the points up. If they had made the field goal, it's a 1-point game. I go down there, I kick a chip shot, I win, I upset Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. But they didn't, and it came down to this. Seconds left on the clock. Virginia Tech with the ball. They heave it down the field. Take a listen.
Comes down to this. Drones lets it fly. They're sorting through the carnage. Miami has it. Virginia Tech has it. How do you like that? Virginia Tech, they rule it a touchdown.
Does anybody ever have firm control?
Does that justify firm control?
For minutes, it seemed like hours, an eternity, the referees got together. First they huddle up and they say, touchdown, Virginia Tech. But Miami came out of the pile with the football. So then, let's go to the replay officials in Charlotte, North Carolina,